Hi! Welcome to this Voyage of Stories. You're here with me, Saakshi, and I really hope you enjoy this session. Today, the story that I'll be sharing with you is an adaptation from a Hungarian folktale called The Fox Princess. So sit back and enjoy, and I really hope that you keep the story with you. So, this is also one of those once upon a time stories featuring an old queen and two daughters. So one day the queen was sitting in her room just thinking about her daily routine, looking out the window, and suddenly she saw this magnificent bird that she had never seen before. And soon enough, the bird let out such a melody the queen was hearing for the very first time. And as the queen listened to the bird, she closed her eyes and she relaxed and she started feeling so energetic and she started feeling so happy. But soon the bird left and the queen started feeling lethargic all over again. This happened for a few days. The bird would come and listening to her melody, the queen would start feeling so energetic and she would start feeling so happy at the song. But as soon as the bird flew away, the queen would start feeling drained and she would start feeling tired and her body would ache. Disheartened, the queen went to her daughters. They would not refuse a request from their mother now, would they? Now, the two princesses loved their mother and had an extreme liking for adventure. How could they say no? So the queen asked of them, "Oh my beloved, oh my adventurers, can you please fulfill this one request from your mother?" And off went the two princesses in search of the bird. The elder sister or the elder princess went to one part of the kingdom with her trusted hunting dog. And she looked to her right and she looked to her left and she looked up to the sky and she tried to search for prints on the ground and she stopped passerbys. "You, wait. Have you seen this bird?" And she looked across the pond, but alas, there was no trace of the bird. And soon enough, it was night, and the princess, finding a clearing in the forest, lit a fire, rested against a tree. But soon she heard trotting. There went a fox right before her, and she commanded her hunting dog to go right after the fox. But the fox knew what was happening, and it turned and it warned the princess and her dog. "Stop it!" said the fox. "Stop it, or you'll be turned to stone." But did the princess and her dog stop? Nah. And so, soon they were turned to stone. Meanwhile, in another part of the kingdom, the younger sister or the younger princess also searched for the bird. She looked right and she looked left and she looked up to the sky and she looked and she asked passerbys, "Wait, have you seen this bird?" And she climbed trees and she pulled out leaves that had gotten stuck in her hair. But soon it was night, and so the princess lit a fire and she rested against the bark of a tree and she was about to start eating the food she had brought with her, that soon she heard trotting and she saw a fox and it filled her with so much joy. Oh, what a magnificent creature! And she called out to the fox and offered some of her food. "Thank you," the fox said. "I shall not have the food, but in return for the kindness you've shown me, let me help you." So, the younger princess told the fox about the bird and about her mother's request. In return, the fox said, "Oh, the bird you seek is not here. It is far away in the land of the Red Kingdom. If you wish, I can accompany you and take you to the tree where the bird lives." Hearing this, the princess got really happy. She thanked the fox and requested it to accompany them on this journey. And look, the moment the princess made this request, the fox turned into a young man with a mustache and off they went to the land of the Red Kingdom. So, eventually, they reached the land of the Red Kingdom. Once there, the fox guided the princess to the royal gardens of the king, because that is where stood the tree atop which the bird sat. The princess thanked the fox, and she reached the tree and she looked up at it. And she started climbing and she started climbing. And she found the bird and she took it and she started climbing back, but suddenly there were footsteps. "Trespassers! Trespassers!" came sounds. Oh, it was soldiers from the king's army, and they took the princess and off they went with the princess to the king's court. Where was the fox? Upon hearing the footsteps, the fox had jumped to the nearest bushes to hide itself. Meanwhile, inside the king's court, the old and grumpy king looked at the young princess and said, "You know, it is a crime you have committed. You should be punished for this crime. But I can consider your release if you agree to marry me." Huh? What? Did the prince just ask to marry me? Thought the princess. Marry him, me, marry. The princess had to find a way to escape. She looked at the king and thanked him for being so generous and asked for a little more time before she can get ready for the marriage. The king, overwhelmed by the princess's gratitude, allowed the soldiers to escort her outside the palace so that she could prepare for the marriage mentally. Once outside the palace, the princess was incredibly flustered. She looked around to see if anyone was there before she could start planning an escape. Soon, her friend the fox appeared. "What troubles you so, my dear friend?" asked the fox. "Oh, fox," the princess said, "I'm so worried. The old grumpy king wants to marry me." "Marry me? I haven't even thought about marriage to him or with anybody else. What should I do? What should I do? I need a plan to escape." Seeing the friend so worried, Fox came up with a plan. "Worry you need not, my darling," said the fox. "Off you go with the bird to your mother. I will handle things with the king here." And without any more discussions about this, the fox ensured that the princess went away to her own kingdom, and the fox transformed itself into the princess and got ready to greet the king inside his court. The king decided to throw a lavish banquet where all his ministers gathered to congratulate the king and the new queen. They showered them with their blessings and showered them with so much appreciation. But along with all of this, there were a lot of murmurs. Finally, one of the ministers stood up and, bowing his head towards the king and the queen, the minister said, "Your Majesty, we are all very happy about this beloved union. But you see," said the minister, "our queen appears to have the eyes of a fox and what seems to be a tail, Your Majesty." And the moment these words came out of the minister, as if on cue, the fox transformed itself and ran away as swiftly as it could from the land of the Red Kingdom. Soon enough, the fox was able to catch up with the princess, and together they returned to the kingdom. While on their way, they passed through the forest and came upon a very special stone, which the fox told its friend, the younger princess, was actually her elder sister. Upon request from the younger one, the fox turned the stone back into the elder sister again. And this is pretty much how the story ends, with an adventure for the princess and an everlasting friendship between a fox and a human being, where the fox managed to save lives and situations with its wit and its smartness. There were several versions of this one folktale. I did not mention any particular writer because the internet page on which I saw this particular version of the folktale, no authors were mentioned. Also, as I mentioned before, I have tweaked the story a lot, and one thing that still constantly remains in my head is the question of the bird. The queen asks for the bird, the princesses set out on an adventure, and they just take the bird and they bring it back to the queen. That kind of left me unsettled along with some other aspects of the stories. So that's something maybe you might want to ponder upon over and come up with an alternate version of the story yourself. What else could be done with regards to the bird? And meanwhile, until the next story, stay healthy, stay safe, stay indoors, and stay happy.